The issue of Iran's nuclear program during Barack Obama's presidency was one of the most significant foreign policy challenges of his administration. Iran had been pursuing nuclear technology for decades, and by the early 2000s, the international community grew increasingly concerned that Tehran was seeking nuclear weapons. In response, the United States and its allies imposed strict economic sanctions, crippling Iran's economy. In 2009, when Barack Obama took office, tensions with Iran were high. The country had been enriching uranium, a key step in developing nuclear weapons, despite international opposition. Obama initially attempted diplomatic outreach, offering Iran an opportunity for dialogue. However, by 2010, as Iran continued its nuclear activities, the United States and the United Nations imposed severe sanctions on Iran's banking and oil industries. These measures significantly weakened Iran's economy, leading to public discontent. By 2013, the election of Iranian President Hassan Rouhani, a relative moderate, opened the door for negotiations. Rouhani's government, under Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, sought relief from the crippling sanctions, which had caused inflation and economic instability. That year, Obama engaged in secret back-channel talks with Iran and Oman, setting the stage for formal negotiations. In November 2013, Iran and world powers, including the United States, United Kingdom, France, Germany, Russia, and China, known as the P5+1, reached an interim deal called the Joint Plan of Action. This agreement temporarily froze key parts of Iran's nuclear program in exchange for limited sanctions relief, while a long-term deal was negotiated. After months of intense diplomacy, on July 14, 2015, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, commonly known as the Iran nuclear deal, was finalized in Vienna. Under this deal, Iran agreed to reduce its uranium enrichment levels, dismantle 2/3 of its centrifuges, and allow extensive international inspections by the International Atomic Energy Agency. In return, the United States and its allies lifted major economic sanctions, unlocking billions of dollars in frozen assets. However, the agreement was deeply controversial. Critics, including many Republicans in Congress and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, argued that the deal gave Iran financial resources that it could use to fund terrorism and destabilize the Middle East. Obama and his allies defended the deal as the best way to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon without resorting to military action. You should know people went to prison because of the Obama administration's approach to Iran's nuclear program. In fact, a former CIA officer who allegedly shared secrets with a New York Times reporter about the U.S. effort to disrupt the Iranian nuclear program was convicted on espionage charges. In 2018, after Obama left office, President Donald Trump withdrew the U.S. from the JCPOA, citing concerns that it was too lenient on Iran. This decision led to a resurgence of tensions between the U.S. and Iran, with Iran gradually resuming its nuclear activities. By 2019, tensions between the U.S. and Iran escalated dramatically. Iran began gradually violating the terms of the nuclear deal, increasing uranium enrichment beyond the agreed limits and reducing cooperation with international inspectors. Meanwhile, the U.S. ramped up military deployments in the Middle East, citing Iranian threats. The situation reached a boiling point on January 3, 2020, when the U.S. assassinated Iranian General Qasem Soleimani, the leader of Iran's Quds Force, in a drone strike near Baghdad airport. The Trump administration justified the strike by claiming Soleimani was responsible for planning attacks on American forces. Iran retaliated on January 8, 2020, by launching missile strikes on U.S. military bases in Iraq, injuring dozens of American troops. The crisis brought both countries to the brink of war. As Joe Biden took office on January 20, 2021, he faced the aftermath of Donald Trump's maximum pressure campaign against Iran. With the 2015 Iran nuclear deal, the JCPOA in shambles, Iran had resumed uranium enrichment beyond the agreed limits, bringing it closer to developing nuclear weapons. Biden, a key supporter of the original deal during the Obama administration, pledged to revive diplomacy and re-enter negotiations. However, the road ahead would prove far more difficult than expected. During the Biden administration, Iran inserted itself into Iraq's policies, parliament, and government-run agencies. By mid-2022, negotiations stalled due to Iran's insistence on additional guarantees that the U.S. would not withdraw from the deal again, as Trump had done in 2018. Meanwhile, Iran's nuclear program continued to expand at an alarming rate, with uranium enrichment levels reaching 60% purity, dangerously close to weapons-grade levels. In September 2022, protests erupted across Iran following the death of Mahsa Amini, a young woman arrested by the country's morality police for allegedly violating hijab laws. The nationwide uprising led to a violent crackdown by Iranian authorities, further straining diplomatic efforts. In response, the U.S. imposed new sanctions on Iranian officials involved in human rights abuses, further complicating nuclear negotiations. In 2024, efforts to fully revive the JCPOA remain unsuccessful. Iran continues enriching uranium at high levels, while the U.S. and its allies seek alternative diplomatic and economic measures to curb Iran's nuclear ambitions. And now, we are back with the sitting president. Things are so bad between Iran and the sitting president that he has left detailed instructions on how to obliterate Iran if the country is successful in eliminating him. And he let Iran know about his special executive instructions. If you are still with us, thank you. This documentary-style news report shows us how Iran, Iraq's closest neighbor and trading partner, has continued to place Iraq in the middle between itself and the U.S. You understand more than most Americans. As IQD investors, let's hope Iraq can improve its economic status and be in a position to allow the currency to float to a higher value.